Hello there, Vlad here. Welcome to CatPick Fridays, episode number 55. The show that brings you latest and greatest in guitar and music industry news, commentaries, reactions, anything you want to add, like any label you want to add to the show. We are ready to do those. Maybe. I don't know where I'm going with this. Once again, I'm joined by my co-host, and a man that just keeps impressing me with his guitar skills, with one of his latest videos where he's demoing a new X tape echo pedal and making it sound fantastic. We're obviously talking about Rich at Morgan. Rich, are you now officially the Edge 2.0 with your demo?
Unlikely, Vlad. However, I am improving, and that pedal really does make me sound a lot better than I actually am. The new X tape echo, for anybody wondering about it, the video is on my YouTube channel if you'd like to go and have a watch. It is a space echo type device, and it sounds fantastico.
You made it sound really, really good. It's cool. Like, I'm so happy that you started the channel because, like, I knew you could play, but like, there's like new layers that we get to see with every video, and that is really, really cool. And
yes, I'm like the giant onion of the guitar world. Every video, I peel back another layer. Yeah, it's super cool. And just to go back to this pedal, I'm really happy that you think it sounds good because I recorded the video in mono. And as of yet, no one's come across and said, it's not stereo, so I hate it. But at some point, somebody probably will.
Yeah.
But that's when I'll know I've made it, you see.
When you start getting complaints about not recording in stereo, that is, right?
And when I get trolls. I'm not big enough to get trolls yet.
Yeah. It's coming. That's all I'm going to say. You need to have your troll policy set up by that time or something.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Trolls, we're ready. Yeah, but at this point, I want to thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, viewing, and listening to the show. We are obviously available here on YouTube and also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or basically wherever you get your podcast. And as always, if you got questions or you want to be part of our new thing where we basically roast your instruments, guitars, pedals, things like that, feel free to email us at podcast@catpickstudios.com. So yeah, questions, photos, everything goes here. And we are, again, roasting some of your gear later in the show. We're doing guitars. And we got some really cool submissions. And we're also going to take a small trip back to the memory lane, or however you say it, to one of my earlier videos from 2018, which relates to one of the guitars that will be featured here. That will be fun, but also just so many things have happened since the last show. Pedals, plugins, guitars, tube shortages, more guitars, intelligent pedals, or so they claim. And I might be forgetting a lot of other things. Upgrade videos, or like guitar upgrade videos. Then there's a Night Rider build vlog as well by one of Finland's most famous and talented musicians. So a lot of things in the show, timestamps to different parts of the show in the show notes as well if you want to specifically check out one of the segments. And I think without further ado, we should just jump right in because there's so much to talk about. And we do that in a segment called Recent Happenings. So yeah, things that have happened recently. We're going to start with this one. Kaboom! There's a leak. Line6 DL4 Mark II, ? On gearnews.com. And it was a couple of weeks ago, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. Like within a month, I think, we talked about DL4 being discontinued. We're obviously talking about Line6's legendary delay unit that has been on so many boards over the years. Absolute staple in the guitar pedal history. And it was discontinued. And now there's rumors that there might be a Mark II coming out.
Well.
Well.
What a big surprise.
What would the new pedal what are the upgrades, I guess, is the question, or what I'm thinking as the first question.
Yeah, I mean, there obviously are upgrades to the specifications, which come later in the article, but if anyone is watching this right now, I presume that you're familiar with the DL4 from how it looks aesthetically, and we can quite clearly see that Line6 will be updating the looks of the DL4. And from what I've seen on the forums, people don't seem to be 100% impressed with the new look. It's kind of chunky, isn't it?
It's more brick-like.
Yes, exactly. The original was kind of sleek. It had sort of smooth curves, like an 80s bubble sports car or something. And this one looks like a brick, a green brick, an old green Nokia phone. I don't know. But anyway, I mean, looks are only one small part of the pedal, aren't they? I mean, it's going to be down on the floor in front of you, and you're going to be using it to make beautiful sounds. And there do indeed seem to be upgrades and features involved with the Mark II. So, let me just read from the text that you have there on screen, Vlad. Hardware upgrades for the new DL4 Mark II include a MIDI in-out-through, USB-C, a micro SD slot for expanding the looping time, and an XLR mic input. So that's quite interesting. The onboard looper time is now 240 seconds in mono or 120 seconds in stereo, and the effect selector has 3 banks, including 15 original DL4 models, and with 15 new Mark II models, plus 15 secret models, whatever they might be.
Whoa.
I bet they're all Metal Zone models. Would be a good joke.
All the Metal Zone versions.
With delays on them.
Digital Metal Zone versions, that's exactly what we need. I mean...
Yeah.
To me, this sounds good. From what I understand, like, the buffers and everything, like... I think the DL4 is kind of known to be a little bit of like a tone-sucking pedal. Obviously, it's like 20-something years old, so...
Yeah, exactly.
People weren't as serious about their buffering or anything like that back in the day. So...
But I mean, the interesting thing is, though, that so many people still rely on DL4s and still have them on their boards. And the question is going to be, will all of those people now rush out to get the Mark II? And I bet a lot of them will.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of interested in the Mark II. If it's if this is a real lick, it sure looks like one.
I mean, that looks like a genuine issue of Guitar World magazine. I don't think anyone would have or could have gone to the trouble of faking that. And, you know, this also fits perfectly with the timing too. Of course, if if a magazine is getting an exclusive, they need at least 2 months of time in order to get that into print and to get it out into shops and stuff. I mean, this has got to be real.
Yeah. The real DL, as the article says. I like it.
But yeah, and I mean, talking about the DL4 in context of being the Mark II, this is cool. It's a cool thing. And I guess, we expected it to happen. When the news came out that the original was getting discontinued after so many years, we were all like, oh, that's really sad. But hey, what's coming next? And now we know that this is going to come next. The interesting thing will be to stand this alone and put it up against other modern day delays and say, does it have what it takes to make its way onto people's pedal boards? Let's say someone who might own a Strymon Timeline or an Empress Ecosystem or a Source Audio Ventris, for example, because those are the big box delays that, in my opinion, are the most well known at the moment. And the DL4 has a similar sort of offering.
True. And the thing is, to me, it seems a bit, it's more simple. Like, no menus, no displays, anything like that. Just what you see on the front panel is what you get. And I personally like that quite a lot. So
that's what I really like. And that's exactly why I ended up getting the Empress Ecosystem when I went for a big box delay, because I didn't want to have to go into menus. And everything on that pedal is also in the knobs that you twist. There's no display screen. There's no hidden stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I've owned the Strymon Timeline, and the sounds you can get from it are absolutely amazing. Like that kind of like calculator style. I almost call it like calculator style, like one row display with that can host like 10 letters. It's just very painful to operate.
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
And like, there's no USB feature or anything like that. You cannot you just cannot do anything with it on a computer, for example, even though it has a gazillion different parameters. So
exactly.
this just makes sense. And I'm interested to see whether, like, because it has USB-C, I want to say you probably can edit this with your editor as well. Like with some
surely
sort of
you can.
Line6.
Yeah, surely you can beam artist presets into it as well. This is the kind of thing that actually I would imagine that at some point Strymon will need to do with a Mark II of all of its pedals, you know, the growing shift to online and computer-based editing of presets and clouds and stuff like that. Do we have a price for this pedal, Vlad? Is the one mentioned anywhere? I didn't see one.
Me neither. And that was my next question, I guess. What is the price? Because the things you mentioned earlier, like how does this compare to timelines and all the other big delay units? If this is 200-ish or even less, then I think it's 200-ish or less. Like that, I'm just guessing. Like if it's around that price point, I don't remember how much the original one cost before it was discontinued. I think it was sub 200 euros.
I think you could find them for that, but as you said, prices are edging back up again. But yeah, if this is under 200, that will really be a bit of a steal. Stuff like the Strymon Timeline is edging up to 500 euros now in the European Union, which is a lot of money for an amazing pedal, you know, and fully justified if that's what you need. But if this pedal comes out and is less than half the price, a lot of people are going to be thinking, maybe time to make the change, because as we all know, I mean, everyone's heard Helix and the new Catalyst amps and stuff. Line6 makes excellent digital effects. The Helix and the Pod Go, they're let down, in my opinion, more by the clean tones and the drive sounds, but the delays and the reverbs are excellent effects, and I think that this will be a cool thing to try out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hope this will be out soon. They actually mentioned that it's Guitar World May 2020 edition. So I guess in a couple of months we'll know.
No, the May edition will come out in April. Magazines are always a month ahead in that way. In real terms now, they're always like months behind with what they write about, because obviously they have turnaround and print times, but the editions are always a month ahead. So the May one will come out in April. This could be a massive April Fool's joke, but I don't think it is.
I really hope it's not, because
I think it's real. I'm convinced.
Yeah, people will want to get this thing. I'm pretty sure of it. Not sure about the design, but it's not horrible. Again, more retro looking pedals, and we're actually going to talk about some other pedals that are very retro looking as well.
Yes.
Further in the show. But from something retro to something completely not retro, except kind of, because Neural DSP released the Tone King Imperial Mark II amp plugin. And I'm not 100% sure whether this is the first plugin that's officially partnered with an amp manufacturer. Or do they have some other amps where they actually say, okay, this is a Mesa Boogie or something like that?
Neural DSP, I believe this is the first time they've done that. Perhaps an expert could correct us in the comments if you know different, but I believe this is the first time.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's interesting.
It's very interesting. Based on few demos I've seen, it sounds great. I think I've played few Tone King amps. I might have played the Imperial as well. I don't know if it was Mark 1 or Mark 2. Ridiculously good amp. Ridiculously expensive amp as well. But I kind of like this because I bet a small percentage of people who get this plugin will end up buying the amp as well.
Oh, by the way, of course, we have recently had another amp done by Neural DSP, the Soldano Slow 100. They've done that.
There you go.
And looking at their site, there's a bunch of 14 amps as well. And also the Omega Ampworks Granophyre, which I'm not familiar with. But there we go. So the key thing to note there is that a few months ago, Neural DSP came out with the Soldano Slow 100. Now we have the Tone King Imperial Mark II. And those amps might be worlds apart, but actually they all fall under the umbrella of boutique amp distribution. So what I can assume that we're going to be seeing in the next months and years is more Neural DSP plugins from other amps under the BAD banner. So could Friedman be next? Could there be OnePlus stuff on the horizon? Who knows? Could there be Morgan plugins to come?
Yeah, I mean, the Tone King amp, the Imperial Mark II is 2,800 euros, which is a lot. It's a lot, and now you can get those tones for 99 euros. Or you can even give it a try. There's a 14-day free trial available for this thing. There's also a few different pedals. There's a chorus, delay, and reverb that you can use. Oh, there's a couple of overdrive pedals as well in the same software. And
yeah,
I want to try this out. Cool.
I like the options. I mean, I believe that the Tone King Imperial Mark II is the amplifier that Henning Pauli has in his studio, the sky blue one that he uses, and that sounds absolutely beautiful. It's an amazing amplifier. If this plugin can sort of match up to that in any way, shape, or form, then it will be a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. I do find it very noteworthy that a boutique clean amp is now being released as a high-end plugin, effectively. Because if this takes off, I mean, I think metal players have traditionally taken to plugins more. You see a lot more high-gain plugins. But if we suddenly start to see the more kind of cork-sniffing boutique clean types taking to these sort of plugins. I've heard the word cork sniffer in lots of Gearbase videos recently, so I thought I'd use it too.
I mean, yeah.
We can put a hashtag in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if it takes off with those guys and girls, it's, a new dawn for plugins.
I bet Neural DSP has some stats of there has to be some sort of some sort of statistics and data on the fact that, let's say they released the Soldano plugin, that X amount of X percentage of those people buying the plugin are then going for the real deal at some point. I'm just gonna say it has to be.
How would they measure that? I think that would be incredibly difficult to measure.
That's true as well.
I mean, maybe they get it through anecdotal evidence. I've worked for brands for over 10 years now, and you do get messages from people saying, oh, I tried this at a store or whatever, and then I bought this. And so, I'm sure they get messages from, or the amp brands get messages from people saying, hey, I bought the Tone King plugin and I loved it so much that I now decided I'm going to get the real thing. But do you think that's what this is? Do you think this is a gateway to real Tone King combos? Because I honestly don't think that many people are buying Tone King combos for 3,000 euros right now. I don't think that amp was ever conceived to be a high seller. It's like a low volume, high prestige amp for me.
Yeah, I guess it's a combination of many things where it's kind of. Well, first of all, as you mentioned, Neural DSP is kind of known to be more of a metal thing. This makes the Tone King brand more recognizable for those musicians, which is one thing. And somebody might, a lot of those musicians might get the plugin just so they can have some really good clean and low gain tones. That's one. Yeah. But it's also just new people will be introduced to the brand. But I guess, I'm going to guess some of those people who get the plugin will also end up getting the amp. Because
I mean, it's totally possible. That could be a thing. I would like to try this out. Do you use neural stuff, Vlad, at the moment? Because I seem to remember in the past I wanted to try something out, but I'm a total Luddite when it comes to this kind of thing. I have no idea what's going on. And in order to try the neural stuff, you have to download some kind of special software. You can't just get the stuff and put it into Logic or into your DAW. You need some kind of a password protected extra piece of software to run it through, or to license it through, or something. Am I talking nonsense? I don't even know.
No, I think you might be right. I need to check. Like, I've been planning to try a lot of this out, and I've actually thought about maybe like doing a video, something called, I don't know, plugin noob tries out neural DSP plugins or something like that. Well, technically I'd be lying because I have recorded a full EP using a plugin, AmpSim plugin. So maybe I need to do it differently, but yeah, some sort of like instant reactions video, because I haven't tried a single neural DSP plugin yet. I'm dying to try out the Petrucci one as well, because I'm just a giant Petrucci fan, and based on all the demos, the plugin sounds absolutely amazing. And I've also owned several amps that Petrucci has used. So yeah, gonna give it a try. Just haven't had the time. I've been kind of busy as of late, so one of these
go for
days.
It though. That's a video I would like to watch.
Yes. I'm not 100% sure I'll have that much fun creating it. Depends on like how many technical issues I'll have or don't have. You never know. But yeah, I'm going to do it at some point. So yeah. Other plugins. Line6 debuts metal-focused Metallurgy Collection of amp and effects plugins. Modern Trash and Doom plugins vow to provide accessible versions of classic and contemporary tones for metal guitarists. And yeah, more plugins. Something going on with my Guitar World article where I cannot read until the end of the article. They somehow want to put me behind a paywall. So thanks for that. And yeah, more metal plugins by Line6 this time. To me, it sounds like they just took like some of the amps they've had in like a Helix and pulled them into a plugin format. Am I right?
That's what it sort of looks like to me. Yep. And in this article, they say that this could potentially be Line6's rival to Neural DSP's range of amp and effects plugins. And I'm guessing that that's what Line6 are going for. A wealth of easily accessible metal sounds. Yep.
I wonder, like, if these are the Helix models they have. I gotta say, I'm not as impressed by these as what I've been hearing from Neural DSP, for example. But I'm ready to be, like, I'm open to the option that I'm completely wrong about this, and these sound fantastic. So
yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to hear how good these actually are in the wild, because they also cost $100 each. I've just checked the prices. You can buy all three for $200, but if you want thrash, doom, or metal, $99.99, the same price as a Neural DSP plugin, or pretty much the same price.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
I didn't realize they were that expensive.
Yeah, and it is just looking at their website using the HX technology. So there we go.
Interesting, because we talked about this like 100 times before, and my personal opinion is that the Line6 Helix range effects are amazing. They're really, really good. Where I think they have a lot of work to do is the amp modeling. And if this is using, unless they've done something magical with these, where, I mean, the Helix like physical units are limited by the DSP, I think. But maybe these are not in the same way, and maybe they can do something that makes them sound, these plugins might sound just way better versions of what they have in the Helix units, then sure. But I don't know. I'm skeptical at this point, at least.
I think these are 3 more plugins that you need to add to your video that you just talked about.
That is going to be quite a video. 4 hours of me struggling to install all the plugins. Maybe I should live stream that.
I would like to see a video of these Metallurgy plugins compared against the sounds from a Helix or a Pod Go. I think that would make for a nice video.
That's interesting. Yeah, that could be a cool video as well. So many video ideas. I'll have to come back to this episode and just write down all the ideas we came up with. We're only like a third article, and we've come up with like 5 different video ideas at this point. So well done us.
Very creative.
Yes, indeed. And more plugins. Nembiri Audio Faceman. I only now read that the plugin is called Faceman 2. A Faceman 2-channel head, guitar amp, 67 bassman tones. Yeah, so another like a vintage sounding Fender style plugin. This is interesting. Like all the plugin companies seem to have started with high gain, and now we're moving towards more vintage tones, which is interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like we've already mentioned on this episode, it must just be a case of more people who play cleaner stuff wanting to have decent sounding tones on their computers. That must be, the demand must be there. Are you familiar with the Nembiri company, by the way? Because when I read this article, this was the first time I had heard of them.
I don't remember hearing of them before, which is also interesting. So, this is, by the way, available both for DAWs but iOS devices as well. So,
yes.
That's cool. It looks good. Looks like a Fender amp. And you can actually use it for bass, and it has a normal channel, which is both suitable for guitar and bass. So that's cool.
Just like the real deal. What's the price on this one then? Is this up at 99 euros or dollars, just like the others?
So there's an introductory price of $39.99. And then you can also get it for iPad or iPhone for 10 euros right now with a 50% discount. So there's like a launch discount thing going on until the end of March 2022.
Yeah, that seems like something you could take a punt on.
Yeah.
I mean, even $40, that doesn't seem as bad, does it, as spending $100?
Nope, it doesn't. Though I do like the idea of like a free trial as well. That some companies offer.
I like that too.
Yeah.
This is another one to add to your list.
Yes.
Put it in the giant video.
And if you want to hear how it sounds, we're going to link this article in the show notes, and there's a video, which I think is the official video from the how do you?
Hang on, Vlad. I just spotted something in the text. Go down a little bit. I could be pointing at the cameras if you can see me. Go down a little bit more. Stop. Where was it? It was something to do with the software, how you would get this to work. Aha. If you look at the prices and formats section, where it mentions that you pay $40 right now instead of $137, it tells you what computers it works on. And then, this is the crucial thing for me, a free iLok account or dongle is required for authorization. Now that is something which I remember being a problem for me with neural DSP stuff in the past. That's what I struggled with. It was that iLok and that dongle system. Is that something you're familiar with? Because I probably need help if I'm ever going to try something like this out.
Yeah, I own a few SSL plugins, so the official ones, and they use iLok, and it was a pain to get it working. Now it just works, and I don't have to worry about it. It works now just fine, but it was like, luckily they came up with some sort of like online version for the thing, so you don't need to have a dongle anymore. But for the longest time, you had to have that stupid USB stick thing that you had to plug into your computer for anything to work. And yeah, it's stupid. Nobody wins in that, getting that, using that stuff.
And, you know, as I said before, I'm a Luddite. I'm not the kind of most modern person when it comes to this kind of tech and plug-in stuff. That stuff puts me off, you know?
Yep.
I like to be just able to plug into something and play it. And I remember being so frustrated previously trying to get that iLok stuff to work, and it just didn't. And, you know, I mean, like you say, once it works, but it's getting it to work, which is the annoying thing.
Yeah.
I guess it's a similar process to kind of having the pod go at the moment. And endlessly trying to tweak tones to get the one that I really want.
Yeah.
Whereas if I just had a Tone King combo in the room, I'd plug it in with everything at 12 o'clock and it would sound amazing straight away.
Yep. Yeah, then the only challenge is to capture those amazing tones.
And also not to annoy your neighbors within a 5-mile radius. Because they are loud. It does have a
built-in attenuator, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's by the way, one of the... I know the amp costs a lot, but the attenuator, or the Tone King attenuator, is one of the best out there. So
they are good, yeah. But even a watt of tube power is enough to annoy neighbors in some settings.
Yes.
I have proof and evidence of that.
Yes, I've tried that as well. But there are also ways where you can play the amp in your room, but limit how much your neighbors are hearing. Maybe I need to do a video on that at some point. I have a lot of experience in that. So, yeah. From digital things to physical things, Boss Katana goes bass with 2 new combo amplifiers. And there's a mid-wattage 1x10 combo and a high-wattage 2x10 combo. And these are, I want to say, slightly different than the guitar ones, but kind of similar idea. And based on the demo I checked on the Bass the World channel, sounds fantastic. Really cool addition. I wonder why it took them so long, is my question, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much different R&D was required compared to the guitar amps. Have Line6 made bass amps before? I don't recall any, but...
Me neither.
And when I say Line6, I'm totally wrong here because this is Boss Katana bass amps. I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah. Has Boss made bass amps before? That's a legitimate question. I'm not sure that they have. I can't remember.
I'm not sure they have. Which is, again, interesting. I don't think they have that many like bass audio. They had like a few bass pedals.
Yes. Yeah, there's plenty of bass pedals and stuff like that, and there is there was a headphones for bass.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, this is... Yeah, they did that. And I think they kind of used some of that technology on these amps as well.
Yes, I guess they did. And I think what these amps are probably going to do is provide very stiff competition for the Fender Rumble line of bass amps. But these probably go a lot further because I guess they have a lot of effects built in, a lot of different options, connectivity and so on. I mean, the Fender Rumbles, some of them have different effects and different amp types and stuff, and the connectivity as well, but the Katana name now is such a powerful one, I think, in the affordable gear world. I think a lot of bass players are going to be drawn to these.
Yeah, and it doesn't it's... People associate it with budget-friendly but high quality. Like anyone I talk to, and like I've recommended, I think like 3 or 4 of my friends have bought a Katana amp, like the guitar amp, because of my recommendation, and they've been really happy with their purchase. It's very affordable, it's sturdy, it's Boss like build quality, and it sounds good. Like good enough. I wouldn't even say good enough. It just sounds good, and it's fun to play. If these are like in any way the same sound and build quality as the guitar amps, well done, Boss. You got another winner here. That's my official take on the Katana Bass.
Yeah, looking at this, the 210 has a 160 watt power section, so I think you could probably play gigs with it. 160 watt bass amp. Yeah. You're going to manage it. I wouldn't try and play a massive metal thing with a really loud drummer with it. But of course you can plug it straight into the PA as well and you're all good.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the user interface is just so nice and simple on these. Like the LEDs that kind of display you what channel you're on, for example. You can click them and switch the channels, browse to effects, and then you can also plug this into your computer and have some more deep editing thing on as well. And wait, these have the Bluetooth in as well? you connect Boss's audio MIDI dual adapter, you can also control parameters from your smartphone over Bluetooth. So you need the MIDI, so the optional like MIDI adapter, and then you can control it through smartphone as well, which is really cool, actually.
Yeah, I mean, still a cool option if you want it, and the prices are not too bad.
Yeah. $390 for the smaller unit and $649 for the bigger one. I mean, it's pricier than the guitar versions, but then again, just the build thing and like how they're built, but also just having more speakers in it, for example, everything adds
and
up.
There was according to the article here, it was designed from the ground up specifically for bass players. So there are R&D costs into this. And I mean, they do cost a little bit more than the Fender Rumbles, but they offer that little bit more as well. These are going to be very interesting to see in the real world. Yep. Again, I'm really looking forward to actually going and trying one of these out. I am not the world's best bass player. As we realized the other week as well, I had a dust-covered bass in my collection over there, which hadn't been played in a long time. But I would be willing to look it out and get myself hooked up with some bass riffs to try out one of these.
Indeed. Yeah, looks great. I think this will be a staple in like more budget-friendly bass amp market. So,
Yep, agreed.
Well done, Boss. Once again, well done. And from Boss to a boss of guitar, I don't know. Somebody who definitely like kind of commands a lot of the guitar-related news, John Mayer. GuitarWorld.com reports that John Mayer owns a Dumble amp that Stevie Ray Vaughan used to record Texas Flood. Mayer revealed that he played the 005 Dumble and special complete with an SRV Fender Stratocaster, no less, at the late blues icon's rock and roll fame inauguration ceremony in 2015. So there you go. He has the amp.
Yeah. Why are we not surprised? It's been a long time since we've had John Mayer on the channel, and since we've talked about him on the channel. I mean, it's been infinite time since we've not had him actually on the channel because he's still not accepted our requests for an interview, which we haven't actually made. But there you go. He might just ring us up out of the blue and ask to come on at some point. But yeah, finding out that he owns Stevie Ray Vaughan's Dumble is just... That's the kind of thing where with John Mayer, it's just like, oh yeah, no surprises whatsoever. I guess the only surprise is that he owns it and Joe Bonamassa doesn't.
I was just about to say the same thing. Like, I imagine them like having some sort of like rock and sticks fight, and John Mayer came out as a winner.
I can imagine there being like a terrible bidding war if this was sold at auction or whatever.
Yeah.
John Mayer's there in the room with his little board, but there's this guy, we have an anonymous bidder on the phone from Nerdville, and it's like, and the price is just going up and up and up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
None of this is probably true, but yeah, I'm sure Bonamassa hurts a little bit inside knowing that Mayer, his arch nemesis, has this amplifier.
A question to our listeners and viewers: do you prefer that it's John Mayer who owns the amp and not Joe Bonamassa, or would you have it the other way around? Let us know in the comments on YouTube. We really want to know.
That's a really interesting poll that we can do there.
Yes,
Mayer or Bonamassa, who deserves that Dumble? Who do you think, Vlad?
I kind of prefer John Mayer to have it, because I've seen those videos where Joe Bonamassa just goes through his amps and guitar collection. It's just so ridiculous that I don't think he needs to have even a single amp more in his collection.
I would like to see John Mayer's collection.
That's true. Maybe his collection is even more ridiculous. Who knows?
It could be. I suspect not, but it could be.
Mm. But yeah, very important news indeed.
Absolutely.
This happened many years ago already. It's just like now we know.
Yeah, but the article just came out. We're reporting it fresh, less than a day old.
Yes, exactly. So there you go. We know who owns that amp now. And from amps to things that tube amps need to run, tubes. Obviously, everyone knows what's going on in Ukraine right now. And I guess one of the side effects is that we might have some sort of tube shortage. And a few days ago, there was an article posted that Electro Harmonix confirms that they will not be importing tubes from Russia anymore, except, and well, let's go back just a little bit. I said except, and everyone probably guesses what happened later. But between this article and then what happened slightly later, several YouTubers you and I follow posted videos like, oh, is this the end of tube amps? Is this the death of tube amps? And what do you know? There's a solution that was found for this tube shortage crisis, and apparently Electro Harmonix will be importing vacuum tube as well. And yeah, I don't even know what to say about this thing. I mean,
so let's go back to the start. About a week or so ago, EHX came out with a press release saying that they were no longer going to be getting 5, 6, or 7 different tube types that they have imported from Russia in previous decades, and they would be stopping orders. They wouldn't be taking any new orders, and these tubes had been placed on a sanctions list until the end of the year, so Russia wouldn't be sending any anywhere, and therefore EHX had decided that now the time was right to stop offering them, because that makes sense.
Yep.
And that is the press release that unleashed a flood of articles in the music press and a flood of videos on YouTube that you just mentioned. And like you said, we both follow a few YouTube channels who like to go into the kind of, let's call it the clickbait end of the market and go straight into the, is this the end of the tube amp angle of the whole thing, which is possibly the least important angle that you could pick at this current moment in time.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And there are also a bunch of other YouTube channels that I guess you don't follow either, that I'm not familiar with, because we can't know them all, can we? But I searched around for guitar tube videos that have come out in the past week on YouTube, and there are a bunch. And there are some people saying, tube shortage, no more guitar tubes, we're entering a shortage. There are some people saying, don't panic. Does it really make a difference? Are we entering a tube shortage? Should we panic buy tubes now because there won't be any more? That took over YouTube for a couple of days.
Yep. Yeah, as if that is the most important thing about the situation right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had these videos and
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, this made me dislike few YouTubers a bit more. Just because, like, is there no limit to the clickbaitiness of things? I know you want to get the views, and like the content itself isn't necessarily offensive, but it does play to a certain thing where, like, I don't know.
It's interesting. I mean, some YouTubers, not just guitar YouTubers, but YouTubers in every kind of genre and niche, they make their money, their careers on releasing videos based around the latest news, the latest themes, where they can get the clickbait titles and thumbnails out of it, and that's how they get their money, you know? I mean, we also see it a lot in the guitar world when a famous guitar player happens to die. And a few have in previous years, and it's always a race to the bottom to see who can be the first to offer their heartfelt kind of RIP live streams. You can buy my stuff at the links below. But, you know, some people do it well, some people do it not so well. Some people are genuine, some people I believe are not. But, you know, we don't need to name and shame anybody. It's not about that at all. You know, this is bigger than that. This is bigger than the whole YouTube thing.
That's true. Yeah, and as we mentioned, like, there was kind of maybe a resolution to the whole thing. And also we should mention that there are other places where these tubes are manufactured. And there's always a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, but the twist in the story is that a week or so after their original press release, Electro Harmonics have now come out and said, oh, you know what, actually, we've sorted it that we can get these tubes, so we will be doing them again. So that's where we are right now. You don't need to be panic buying tubes or anything like that. You never did need to be. It was a total waste of time. We're currently looking at the Gear News article reporting on this, and the big question that they ask is, which actually is, I think, more relevant to this whole topic, but we don't need to get into because it's, this is not a political show or anything, but will you buy Russian-made tubes in the future? Because that is the much bigger question right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, like, I think we're forgetting that there's other places where these tubes still get manufactured. There's a factory in Slovakia, I think, where they make tubes. And like, let's say in worst case scenario, like nobody wants to buy Russian-made tubes anymore. There are other places available where they're manufactured. I guess Slovakia and China are the two places we could name or like right away when we talk about this before the show.
I can just speak a little bit about my day job here because you guys know I work for Blue Guitar, and we have nanotubes which come from Russia in the AMP1 amps and in the upcoming AMP-X amps. And we have a very good supply, and we did have a very good supply of them before the Russia-Ukraine situation happened. And of course, we've been getting questions, and Thomas and I addressed this question in a recent live stream where people were saying, are there going to be supply problems getting nanotubes from Russia? And Thomas said, well, firstly, we're lucky that we had a great stockpile that we can use, and that will see us good for the next however long period of time. And if it does come to it that we need to get more and we can't from Russia, then the next port of call would be somewhere like China where you can get them as well. So there are many other places you can do it. And like you mentioned, Vlad, Slovakia, there's a factory there. And there are also, I've heard and seen online that recently there's companies who are trying to start up doing it in places like the UK and the USA. So you never know. That might become a thing at some point. I think that tubes are actually very hard to produce, to make them well.
Yeah.
But that could be something that happens in the future.
Yeah. The thing is, like, it's a vacuum tube. So basically there needs to be a vacuum inside of the tube. So it does require a lot of special equipment and special manufacturing line. So sure, it's difficult, but the way the business works in this world is that if there's a need for a product, somebody's gonna make it. That's just how it works. People are still buying tube amps. Companies are still selling tube amps. People still own tube amps and haven't sold all of them and replaced them with Podgos and so on. So there will be someone who's going to make the tubes. And if there's like a temporary shortage of tubes, it feels kind of irrelevant compared to what's going on otherwise with the whole situation. So that's just my personal take on this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what we're going through in this regard is very much kind of a first world, unimportant problem.
Oh, yes.
In regards to pretty much everything, Let's see if we now get a new round of videos by people saying, oh, the tube shortage is over.
Exactly.
I'm going to guess we won't, but yeah.
I think
because that's not clickbaity, is it? Because it's not a problem.
Actually, I'm now tempted to do a thing where I would add like tube shortage cancelled ? Into the title of the show.
Tube shortage gone wrong.
Yeah, something like that. Like, I don't know. I'll give it. I need to think about it before I release this. We shall see. It's very tempting. I gotta say, it's very tempting. So,
well, that's why they make the videos.
I know.
We should rise above and use John Mayer as our title.
Exactly.
John. Yeah, that's the title. John Mayer fights Joe Bonamassa for Stevie Ray Vaughan's Dumble amp exclusive. Plus, no more tubes.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's the subhead.
I'm sorry to make light of that, but yeah.
Yep. Yeah, from tubes to parallel universe guitars, Fender reaches into its parallel universe to bring its offset cult classic Meteora models to the Player Plus series. And for those who don't know, I want to say it's kind of a reverse jazz master, but not quite. How would you describe that shape? By the way, there's a guitar and a bass version of this.
Yeah, reverse. It's an offset, that's for sure. Reverse jazz master, a little bit of a Firebird DNA in it. The guitar it reminds me most of is the Fret King Ventura, which nobody watching this show will have heard of, but I used to work for the company that did Fret King, so I'm familiar with them. Great guitars. I assume that the Fret King Ventura was actually modeled on an earlier Fender design. But the Meteora is very different, and I actually got to see one in the flesh, in that green color that we're looking at on the screen right now, because we did a blue guitar photo shoot at our friendly local music retailer 6 and 4 this week, and they had one of the older, I'm guessing, Player Meteora models in that beautiful, bright, sparkly, sort of slime green color. And it looked lovely, but it had, unfortunately, a very light and quite dry Pow Ferro or Indian Laurel fingerboard.
There you go. Another return, like a classic return. We haven't talked about fingerboards in a while.
We haven't, no.
I almost forgot.
I really like the look of that guitar, and it feels surprisingly ergonomic. It feels surprisingly good to hold it and to play it and stuff. I was actually really tempted with that guitar that I saw in person. I mean, despite the board not being ideal, of course, you could oil it, and you could even dye it darker if you wanted to.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, you can add oil on Pow Ferro, apparently. Because there's some fretboards where it's not recommended.
Yes, you're right.
Good.
Maple boards, for example. You don't want to put lemon oil on those. But yeah. And this is the latest addition to Fender's Player Plus lineup. Pow Ferro fingerboards. They have, it's a really cool looking guitar, and there's a silver burst finish too, which is very much kind of the thing at the moment. And double humbucker guitar, a whammy, or trem if you want to call it that, 2 humbuckers. And the bass version has 2 active pickups. So it's that's going to be a very versatile bass guitar. Again, with a maple fingerboard or Pow Ferro, depending, available in a bunch of different colors. I'm not sure there is a left-handed version of these. That's a question that I've had on my YouTube channel a few times recently. Are there left-handed versions of this and this guitar? And generally, it seems that there aren't.
You've done a lot of Harley Bendons. Do most of those have left-handed options?
No.
Nope.
Some of them do, but from what I've seen, most tend not to, which is a shame. Yeah. But that's just the way it seems to be with the industry right now.
Yeah. I kind of like these, though I'm not sure if I would consider, if I would get any of these, though.
Have you got prices there at the bottom of that article, Vlad?
Did I see? Was there a price? So the guitar is like $1,000-ish, and the bass is at $1,200 or so. Though these prices may vary quite a lot depending on where you're getting the instruments. So, we recommend you check the prices at your local store or the store, like an online store in your country at least.
Yeah, exactly. I think when it comes to, that magical $1,000 euro price point, there's so much around there that it's kind of like, I feel that you really want to have a Meteora to buy a Meteora, if you know what I mean. Because you could go into a store and there's going to be 10 Strats that you can try out, and then there's this one Meteora. So I feel like it's a mood guitar in a way. It's something totally different. Yeah. And just looking at it now, just looking at the pictures, it looks really cool. I really do have a thing for offsets, despite not owning a single offset guitar. I love them, but have just never got around to having one. And I feel like, at this price point, it's going to take a lot to convince some people, but by the same token, there will be people out there rushing out to get this because it looks cool and it is very different.
Yep. I mean,
they're big, by the way, like physically very big. I was taken by that when I was at the store this week. Like, they're not like an Explorer. They're not super huge, but they feel a lot bigger than a Telly, for example.
I mean, it looks like that. There's great upper fret access if you need that at least, so that's cool.
Absolutely.
I think
and because these are like a Player Plus, they have rolled fingerboard edges.
Ooh,
so that's what a little bit of the extra cash is going on. So if you really want that, then that's worth it too. Of course, the Player Plus range has a bunch of other instruments in it as well, Strats, Tellys, and so on.
Yeah, there's the S1 switch as well for split coils and all kinds of in-between sounds. So, yeah, probably a very
how the article says it's a super bonus S1 switch.
Super bonus. So it's like your regular bonus, but even better. That's how I see it then. Yeah, exactly. But from funky-looking guitars to tiny amps, Blackstar launches the JJN3, so the Jared James Nichols signature mini amp you can take anywhere. This is cool. I don't remember seeing a mini amp, like a signature mini amp from any company before. This is kind of cool. I wonder how it sounds though. But, yeah.
You've basically just enunciated my whole thought process with this. This is a really funny one because I've never seen a mini signature amp like this either, and I feel like it's just, I don't know. I mean, previously we've seen Jared James Nichols. Well, we all know him for, the amazing musician and artist and guitar player that he is. And of course, he's had the two Epiphone signature guitars, the Gold Glory and the Old Glory, the single P90 equipped Les Pauls, like super traditional guitars. And now suddenly he's come out with this signature Blackstar 3-inch speaker fly amp. And it caught me by surprise, I have to say.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
it's like...
Yeah, it's got to sound good, hasn't it? I mean, one thing's for sure, we won't be seeing him using it on stage. Like the video that they've got in the video there. But I just imagine that he probably had one of the standard flies, was using it as a kind of a pre-gig warm-up amp or something, or a practice amp at home. Maybe got in touch with the guys, or they saw that he was using one and they said, hey, should we tweak one to your settings and sell it as a signature model? And he said, yeah, sure, let's do it. And I mean, he must be 100% behind it because his name is on the thing and his logo is across the front of the speaker grill.
There's a button on the amp called Blues Power. So that's cool. I like that.
Yes. It's got built-in delay.
Yeah. This feels weird, but there's an aux in, but for whatever reason, they're calling it MP3/line in. Who's referring to MP3s anymore? Like, who's using MP3 files in general, like, for listening music? Everyone's streaming it anyway. Why is it just called line in? Why do you need to specify it's MP3? Just
I don't know. Maybe people who talk about Blues Power also listen to MP3s.
That is very true. I'd love to hear how this sounds. There's probably not many demos available online of this.
Yeah, I haven't seen any demos of it yet. And that video that is in the article there is of Jared James Nichols playing a full-scale gig with a full-scale amplifier. Now, these are going to retail at £79. That's the UK pricing in the article. So in store, possibly a little bit less. Should come in at under €100, $100. That's a decent price. Jared James Nichols has a big fan base. The Epiphone signature guitars are very well liked, although I still haven't seen one in the flesh. I would love to. And I trust that he's done something decent here.
Yeah. And he's one of those artists where like immediately you just go like, that's really very well deserved. He's a fantastic guitar player and also seems like a super nice guy. So it's so easy to root for him.
Yes.
So well done, Jared James Nichols. I hope you sell a lot of these amps. And I hope
so do I. I really want to try one of these out.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we'll see these in our local music stores because Blackstar, like in the budget range of things, they're really well featured in most guitar stores, I think.
Yeah, Blackstar is everywhere, so that will be probably an easier one to try out.
Yeah. And before we move forward, a word from a sponsor, though it's not technically a sponsor, but it's something I wanted to talk about, and let's have some nice music going on. Let's try this one. Please note that the music we're hearing right now is not the music that you will be hearing right now, because StreamYard makes this a little bit complicated. But what I wanted to talk about is the brand new CatPick Studios website. It's out. CatPickStudios.com is functioning again. I had some trouble where I had to take down the whole course platform and things like that, and it took me a while to get it back up. But now it's here. And for those watching YouTube, you can see like if you go to the site and sign up for the email list, you'll get a bunch of really cool freebies, which include a free course. There's an exclusive lesson, there's jam tracks, and I'll be adding more stuff in the future. And I absolutely promise that I won't spam you with any kind of stupid offers or anything like that. And that anything I'm going to send to you email-wise will be something that I think you will like. Some useful tips, announcements, things like that. And I wanted to make, what's the word? I want you to feel that it was worth signing up for the email list and be kind of part of the exclusive CatPick Studios club. This music really gets me into the right mood, I think. I need to see if I can somehow extract this music and you actually use it on the background. Because I like it. But yeah, site is there. And by the way, you will also... Oops, I forgot to update the latest episodes here. Well done, me. Yeah, you can find a bit more about me. There's a discography page as well. If you want to know what I've been doing in my music life, there's some songs and albums I've produced, recorded, written, stuff like that. A bunch of stuff is there, and you can also check out some merch and things like that, including this beautiful, beautiful, unlikely baseball cap. Summer will be here sooner, unless you're in Australia where you're closing to
almost
the winter
winter.
time. Yes, exactly. But for the rest of us, we're not upside down. Summer is getting close, and you can get yourself an unlikely baseball cap, for example. And instructions on how to find this if you're not seeing it in the EU store, you can find those on the website as well. So it is all there. Head over to catpickstudios.com. Terms apply or something like that. I don't know, whatever you're supposed to say at the end of the ads. Let's go with terms apply. I like that. Sounds very official. And I think it's time for us to stop jamming and talk about more news, because I need to remember to click a button here as well. Forgetting, Jeff Loomis gets a new signature Pro Series Jackson Soloist SL7. It's a 7-string guitar from Jackson, looks very Jackson-y. And Jeff Loomis, a ridiculously good guitar player in his own genre. Yeah. And seems like a super nice guy as well.
He does indeed.
So, yeah. Oh, it's a 26.5 inch scale length. That's cool. Like with the 7-string guitar, I think the regular like 25.5 is a bit short. I think the 7th string, like the B string, is a bit floppy.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Compound radius, 24.
In the images that we're looking at, the neck looks really long and the headstock looks gigantic.
It's one of those instruments where, like, if you get attacked by a polar bear, which is a real thing here in Finland, you walk out of your door, you're going to your band practice. Oh, look, there's a polar bear. You can use this guitar to defend yourself just fine. And something that a punch can also confirm. Like, this is it should have some sort of sticker on it, like works against polar bears. Anyway, yeah, great looking guitar, very metal, but I guess so is the man whose signature guitar this is, so nice.
Yeah, exactly. And it's packed full with his signature pickups as well. So if you're a Jeff Loomis fan and you want a slightly longer scale 7-string guitar, this could be the one. I don't see any mention of pricing here, but I'm guessing this is a premiumly priced instrument.
Definitely looks like. Well, it does have a Floyd Rose 1500 series, double locking tremolo. This might be, my guess is it's like between 1,000 and 1,500 euros maybe.
You reckon? I was going to go over 2,000.
Just because of the bridge choice. Though I'm not that familiar with all the different Floyd Roses. Maybe that's their like premium model.
Yeah. Is there a link that we can click to find something out? Doesn't look like it. I'll click on the product page one. How about that?
Let's see if we can find out more. Learn more.
Yeah, in that image there on the website, the headstock is just sizable.
It is. I mean, it has to fit 7 tuners.
By the way, it's a beautiful guitar, isn't it? It's a basswood body with a sandblasted ash top, and you can really see that grain, and you will obviously feel it too when you run your hands across it. Lovely.
Yeah, that's gonna look amazing.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's just called ebony or black or something, but it looks beautiful. Really, really nice.
Yeah.
Very metal.
No mention of
nice.
Yeah. No mention of the price.
Click on that black button there, View Soloist SL7. Perhaps there's a bit more information there. So many subpages.
So many subpages indeed.
Come on, guys, let's have a price somewhere.
Specs.
Everyone's dying to know. Electronics, hardware. Lumen lay side dots, so glow in the dark fret markers. If you're playing on suitably metal darkened stages, you'll always see that you're down at the first fret.
You can always find the 24th fret whenever you need to, thanks to the lumen lays.
Okay, so this is going to require a quick Google, isn't it, to find a price? Because, Yeah,
I mean, it's really interesting because, like, for example, ESP is doing a lot of those, like, somewhere between like 1,000 and 1,500 euros, like those, basically the LTDs, like premium range of guitars. For whatever reason, I'm thinking that this kind of falls into that as well, because I think that's probably the most lucrative like price point for a lot of signature guitars, unless it's like a Stevie Pia or something like that, which is like just a very special thing.
Yeah, and I think with a lot of these metal guitars, they have to make them affordable enough that players will buy them, you know?
Yeah.
I think a lot of metal players, a lot of Jeff Loomis fans will also be younger players as well, and they're not going to want to spend 3,000-4,000 euros or dollars on a guitar, or have the means to do so. I've just found a guitar which I believe to be this model at a German online store, not yet available to order because it's not out yet, but 1,519 euros is the price.
So there you go.
And this is the guitar. So, not too bad. Cheaper than I expected, I have to say.
Yeah, I guessed right, because...
You did.
I mean, as you just mentioned, it just makes sense. Make it available for more people and you'll sell more guitars. That's how it works usually.
Yeah, exactly.
So, cool looking guitar. I would love to try this out and like see how it actually feels in the lap. I don't think Jeff Loomis is a huge guy, but like in this photo here, it doesn't look like it's such a gigantic instrument overall.
No, and I think it could be, I don't know, the focal length of the lens in the shot or just the way it was kind of composed, the image. But again, Jeff Loomis looks a lot bigger than the guitar, and the headstock on that thing looks almost as long as the guitar's body. It could just be the angles. It's a cool pick though. And for a metal guitar, I mean, for me personally, who's not that metal of a person, I'm not turned off by that guitar in any way, except perhaps for a bit of headstock envy, as you might call it. But Yeah,
I'd be scared to hit that headstock somewhere and like either break the headstock or break whatever I'm hitting with the headstock.
Yeah.
A little bit, but then again, there's not too many situations where that could happen, I think. Yeah, from Jackson to ESP, they have released, ESP celebrates centenary of FW Mono's classic horror with the Nosferatu Eclipse guitar. For those watching on YouTube, you can see what a monstrosity this guitar is.
Oh, you don't like it?
I wouldn't put this on a wall in my bedroom, let's put it that way.
No, I don't think I would either.
It's quite something. I mean, we talked about this before. Like, there was the Mark Tremonti limited edition PRS run where it had a bunch of different skulls and stuff like that on it as well. And clearly, there's a market for that. I just don't know anyone who from my circles. I don't know anyone who would buy this. I guess that's the only thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think we're probably in the wrong circles for this kind of instrument, but we have been seeing more and more kind of ultra exclusive, ultra limited, ultra expensive, hand-drawn artworks on guitars. And there are only 15 of this guitar, and it's priced at £12,000. Yes, £12,000. So probably $15,000 or euros. It's an art piece. And for fans of silent horror, if you've got a disposable income of $12,000 to drop on a guitar that, again, I assume you would never want to play, you would simply want to display as an art piece, then more power to you. I mean, Nosferatu is a classic, black and white silent horror film. I had to watch it as part of my university course because I studied film as part of my bachelor. Very useful degree for anybody thinking about
I've studied film as well. For the first, though, but my school, I applied for a certain, not course, but for certain kind of program. And in Finland, we have to, you'll have to do a certain version of a military service. It's like an actual military service or civil service. And basically, I kind of missed a year of the school, so I started a year later than it was supposed to. And my program got cancelled. And they kind of, the school kind of stitched together, all these random courses. And basically, I studied film for the first year in my school. And yeah, we went through all of these as well. I don't remember watching Nosferatu, but I guess it's also a classic in pop iconography. All of us have seen this character somewhere without maybe realizing it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But, the weird thing is if you are going to be studying film, you'll have lecturers and professors who love horror. I mean, me personally, I've never liked horror films. I've never liked scary stuff. Supernatural, sci-fi horror stuff, I've just never liked it whatsoever. And yet every single film lecturer or professor I had the pleasure of learning from made me watch horror films pretty much every semester. And it was the good thing is that it was normally classic and European horror. So none of this modern kind of torture porn, Saw type stuff, which I would probably, literally faint at if I had to watch it in a cinematic setting. But yeah, we'd watch all these 60s and 70s sort of titillating European exploitation films and horror and stuff. And it was just, I mean, I learned a lot during that time. And I confirmed to myself that I don't enjoy this kind of cinema. It's just not my thing. But a lot of it is still in my mind. And it does inform how you create stuff as well, because, the art of creating film and the art of creating kind of mise en scène and sort of interesting storylines. I think it probably is also very valid in what you do as well, Vlad, because, we both write, we both do creative visual stuff, we both do music. It's all sort of interlinked and connected in a way. And of course, the soundtracks to these silent films were incredibly important.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't remember if we talked about this before, but I used because my kind of the program that I was entering was kind of cancelled, and actually a year after I started school, they rebranded the whole thing into like an international media studies or whatever it was. Like I was this weird in between kind of year. And yeah, first of all, I was kind of angry that we studied film and stuff like that, because I wanted to be a graphic designer at that point. And I wanted to learn graphic design, and we didn't do anything graphic design related for the first year. We just did like short films and all kind of stuff like that. But now I'm really glad I did, because this is what I ended up doing. Like as you just mentioned, I understand a little bit about like scripting and writing and like sequencing things in a way to have a certain impact on the view and presenting things in a certain way and stuff like that. Not that I'm like super professional in this, but it certainly helped.
No, me neither, but it's a very interesting thing. We've gone massively off topic with this guitar, of course, but if there's any film buffs out there watching this, hey, maybe if Eirik is watching this, he's another one who makes wonderfully cinematic YouTube videos and is obviously very much kind of
really good at
a film student. Yeah. And, you know, based on the visuals that he's putting out with his short movies, it's, yeah. I guess studying film wasn't that much of a waste of time.
No, that is like a classic like joke thing. Like, oh, what did you do in school? Like, oh, I studied classic film, and then you work at McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
Like they use
Luckily,
that joke in so many movies. It was only part
of my degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we can both come to the conclusion that this guitar is not one that will be finding its way into either of our collections anytime soon.
That is very, very true. And from horrific guitars, in a way, horror guitars, to Mooer is once again putting out something intelligent with the ultra-compact audio interface and multi-effects. They have this whole intelligent thing going on. They labeled the GTRS as intelligent guitar, and now they're doing like an intelligent pedal thing. Basically, they're taking the effects and stuff and things like that and just putting them into different enclosures, I guess. First there was a guitar, and now there's an intelligent pedal. I'm not sure how this is supposed to work, to be honest. Or do you need to pair it with that guitar to make it work?
No, I think you can pair it with anything, but I think you need to... It's basically an audio interface. And it has ins and outs and a headphone out, and you basically load the effects that you want to have into this device, and you can then use them as part of your practice setup. It's all done via Bluetooth, and I'm also a little bit confused as to how it will work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So
I mean, it's something you obviously have to have an app to make the most of course, because they call this a prime pedal, but there's actually no switches or knobs or controls on the pedal itself.
So actually, like, to me, it looks like they basically took the brains from the GTRS and put it into like a standalone unit, so you can get all of the stuff of the GTRS guitar itself, except it's now like, well, it's not a pedal. It looks like an iPod type of thing.
It does. It really does look like an iPod with the little spinning wheel thing at the top instead of the bottom and no screen.
Yeah. I mean, as a practice tool, cool. Like, it's an alternative to like any kind of practice amp and stuff like that. I don't know what they're calling this pedal, because it's not a pedal. But I mean, Mooer effects are decent. There's 126 of them if you want, 73 bass effects, 40 drum machine slots, and an 80-second loop as well. So you can do a lot with this. And it's probably a really fun practice tool. They're not labeling it as anything else, I think. I just don't call it a pedal. Though I don't know, like, how would you brand this? Mooer Prime 1 dongle doesn't sound as a good sales pitch to me.
No, Prime dongle is really making me think of another kind of branch in the entertainment business. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Yeah. The Prime P1. Exactly. I don't know what I would call it, but I wouldn't have pedal in the name.
Yeah.
Because
add a foot switch on it,
and
then it would make more sense. But it doesn't have a foot switch.
The one thing that I would slightly worry about with this would be the fact that they say you get around 4.5 hours of usage time. So presumably in the real world, less than that. That's not that long.
That's not that much, actually. Like, even all the practice amps I've had have had like 10 hours or more of usage time. So
yeah, you know what this reminds me of?
Yeah.
And I would put it in the same bracket in the Omek Teleport pedal, which is a pedal that's been out now for years, and I still have no idea what it actually does. I think you've used one, right? But
I've had one.
Feels similar to me.
You can kind of do a lot of things with it, but also it didn't really work for several things I kind of wanted to do with it. It's a kind of niche product that can be absolutely essential to some people. So in that sense, I do like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's also like, I don't know if there's a market for this. Maybe there is. But it's just, right.
No, I was going to say, I think there is a market for it, as there was a market for the Omek Teleport. And there pretty much is a market for every product that is released. But I think what we have here and what we also had with the Omek Teleport is a marketing issue as opposed to a market issue, because if you look at the information that Mooer has given out here, it's really not that clear what we should do with it. And I do also wonder, is this me just being kind of, I'm in my late 30s, this is just a thing where I'm a generation too old to understand what it does. But I don't believe so. I just believe that it's quite vague, the information that we've officially been given. And what Mooer are going to do is release it, wait and see how people use it, and then that will kind of inform how it is marketed in the future.
I mean, I think GTRS was kind of more clear. Like, it's a guitar where there's built-in software stuff. And
that was a lot easier to get,
Yeah, and this feels I would brand it as like the brain of the GTRS, but you can have it without buying an actual guitar.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Like, pair this with some sort of like a thing you can, attach to your guitar strap, for example. So it's like right there with your guitar, and you're good to go, for example.
But if that is what this is, why don't they just say that?
I don't know.
I mean, I totally agree with you. And if that is what this is, then that would be a great way to sell it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We've got the brains from our intelligent guitar and put it into a little box that you can attach to your guitar strap and have all of that intelligent stuff right there and plug into headphones and play silently. Boom.
Yeah, and also...
For me personally, that would be much more attractive if that is indeed what this is.
Yeah, exactly. Are we right or wrong about this? Let us know in the comments. I think we kind of understand what this is, but maybe we just missed something. Let us know as always.
Could be. Would like to try it out, depending on the price, of course.
Yes, which we do not have.
No, we don't.
So there's that. But from complicated pedals to retro pedals, SolidGoldFX aims to put a fresh spin on Bluesbreaker with a new slider-equipped Commodore Overdrive pedal. Another retro-looking pedal, and it looks great. It's very retro, like super retro, but I like it.
Oh yeah, a proper old school looking pedal. Well, I mean, it doesn't look like an old school pedal. It looks like an old school mixing console or something like that, but in guitar pedal form. And I'm not sure that's the most practical way of doing things, but it looks great. And I mean, it's a Bluesbreaker pedal. So if you're looking for a Bluesbreaker and you want something that looks a little bit different and has slidey controls instead of knobs, then why not?
Yeah. I guess there's a tiny bit of confusion because the sliders kind of remind you of an EQ pedal, but the controls are actually volume, tone, contour, and drive. So that's interesting, but I kind of like it.
That was the thing that I was going to bring up, and I would have said that if you were going to do this, it would be awesome to have the standard, drive knobs and volume knobs, and then have maybe a 3-band EQ in slider format, because that's what
cool.
most of us are more used to.
Yeah. But we're
and
seeing
I could also imagine that.
Hmm?
I was just going to say, I can imagine if you were gigging this and you had it down on the floor, it's probably a lot easier to accidentally kick these sliders out of position than it is to kick the knobs out of position. And if you're a heavy stomper, the only way you would be kicking the sliders is up, so you would be just potentially boosting everything way more than what you would actually want. But yeah, I think what you were about to say before I rudely interrupted you was that we're seeing a bunch of more kind of retro-looking pedals and other bits of gear coming into the industry.
Yep.
And that's a nice thing.
I think the latest is probably the Gibson Maestro range, for example.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
yeah, and we've seen everything from pedals to guitars with brands like Revolta bringing back kind of old designs through to studio equipment. We recently had the more affordable Bolt audio interfaces by Universal Audio, for example, that look like old bits of 70s equipment but are made in 2022.
Yep. Looks cool. Can you see the price? I'm again getting this weird paywall thing with guitarworld.com.
Let me Google it.
SolidGoldFX Blues Breaker. Oh, no, it's called Commodore.
Just a quick Google here. In Europe, we're looking at €229. So kind of what has become the standard price for a boutique USA-built overdrive pedal. I assume this is American.
Yeah. I don't remember where they're from, but let's say they are.
Yes. So, I mean, good luck to them with this. It looks super cool, and I'm just on the SolidGoldFX website right now where you can see it kind of in bigger, cooler picture form. It looks really, really nice. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a blues driver pedal as well. There's a lot of them out there, but check it out if you're looking for a new blues breaker. And they're an American company, and for the price, I assume that this is made in America too.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those, it's like a collectible as well. Like, it's not, you don't go just for the sound, you go for the looks as well. So I think that
exactly
the price is justified, I want to say. But from this to Earthquake Devices, they unleashed the Afterneath Otherworldly Reverberator Special Edition. Wow, that was a complicated thing to pronounce, but
along with a movie.
Along with a movie.
Yep.
Is that a movie?
Comes with an 80-minute retrospective film.
Really? Interesting. I am very confused about all of this. So
have you played the
film?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to quote the article, the 80-minute long film talks about how Earthquake Devices founder and lead designer Jamie Stillman accidentally stumbled upon this unique algorithm whilst experimenting with code that would later become the Afterneath. You can check out the movie below to hear the whole story in full detail. So,
yeah, I really like the look and the sound of all the Earthquake Devices pedals that I've played. I've never tried the Afterneath, but would like to. They're very, very good at making ambient sounds, and I really dig their YouTube channel too. And I think that they always present really well. You always get guitar and also synth tests on their videos, so they're always thinking of other kinds of musicians too. I would like to watch the movie. I wonder if you can watch it on YouTube without having to buy the pedal. Because
I think it was available on YouTube. They mentioned that in the article.
Yeah, and I mean, Jamie Stillman, the main guy at EQD, he's a great presence, a very good guitar player and musician as well. So that's going to be a good thing to watch. That's a brand that I just like.
Yeah, I have like a very like positive impression of them as well. I've tried some of their pedals. What's like a blue/white one? I remember at one of the YouTube events, Stefan from the Pedal Zone had us play through those pedals, and it sounded amazing. I don't remember which one it was.
Are you thinking of the classic, the Dispatch Master, the delay reverb?
I think so. That was ridiculously good.
Yes, that's one I have, and it's just it's just like a whole reverb and a digital-ish delay, and it just there's something about how they make their pedals that the sounds just mesh and gel so well together, and it's always super musical.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, my impression of their pedals is like they're just super musical. That's a great impression to have if you run a pedal company. So
yeah, exactly.
Well done. So yeah, if you want to see the movie or how this pedal sounds, link in the show notes as always. Yeah, be sure to check it out, and if you end up watching the movie, let us know. So, actually, from ambient sounds to pedals that you can use for this ambient sounds, we're doing a list. MusicRadar.com has blessed us with another amazing list called Best Delay Pedals in 2022. Add dimension to your tone with pedals from Boss, Strymon, Electro, Harmonix, and more.
Wow, I haven't seen this list. I'm excited. So are these?
Yes.
Oh no, okay. So these are not new delay pedals that have been released
just the best
in 2022, but the best that you can buy in 2022. Exciting. Let's see what's on it.
Yeah, and again, we're assuming number one means that it's the best, and we're starting with Boss DD500. Okay, Boss's high-end unit is the best delay pedal around today.
Oh wow! They've gone out and said that. Wow. This? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a really good pedal, and it has all the different Boss delays in it. I think the one thing it might possibly be missing is a space echo. Can you make that image bigger?
Yes. I don't think it has that. There's a vintage digital, but I don't think that's exactly the same.
Yeah. But anyway, this is Boss's big box delay. There's also a DD200, which I personally prefer, again, for the same reason as you, Vlad, that it doesn't have loads of super hidden menus. It's more about everything that's on the face, and it still has almost all of the same sounds. But the DD500 gives you all of the delay options that you could ever really want as well. You can get reverb out of it too, of course. It's just, it's a cool thing. Any different kind of delay is on there pretty much. It's got stuff like their sort of legendary niche Terra Echo delay, there's shimmer delays, reverse delays, dual, tape, analog, vintage digital, standard, everything. Every kind of delay is in there. Boss effects are really good, and this one is no exception.
Yeah, but I've actually owned one. I've used one. It's great, though. There's a thing that Boss likes to do, and it's just packing all of the features in it, and I found that overwhelming over time.
Yeah, I found it a little bit. Yeah, for me, I was a little bit overwhelmed with this one too, and that's why I prefer the DD200. And of course, the tones overall are the same. Of course, you can tweak more on the DD500, but the tones are similar. And I'm excited and intrigued to see that they've written straight away that this is the best delay pedal around today.
Yeah. So
and then they say reasons to avoid.
Delays. Plenty of deep
isn't the
editing
strongest.
Available. Yeah. Plenty of deep editing available. Like, I can 100% confirm that's the case. At that time, I don't think it had any kind of like editing software that you could use on your computer. And that's like, because it has so many options you can tweak, I found it a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
Number 2, this Electronic Flashback 2. Yep.
The best versatile compact delay pedal.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, like the TC Flashback delay alongside the Hall of Fame reverb, they are industry standards and classics for a reason. I really like both of them. I dig the Flashback, and I actually have the Flashback X4 or times 4, which is the bigger version of the pedal with 4 switches. But you don't really need that. The one that I would really like to try is the... there is a Flashback kind of more retro version that lets you have 3 delays on at the same time.
I've owned that thing.
Alter Ego, I think it's called.
Yeah.
The Alter Ego?
No, I think it's called something else. Or maybe it was Alter Ego. I don't remember anymore. But yeah, I've owned that thing. Used it with my, how would I describe it? Like folk, pop, ambient thing band. Like if we would go through all of my pedal board picks, you could see it there. But yeah, that's
unit. The one I would like to try and haven't yet. But yeah, I mean, the Flashback is a fantastic delay, and all of the algorithms sound great, except for one on the Flashback 2, which I don't like so much, which is their take on the shimmer. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it doesn't work as well as I would like. It's Crystal, it's called, the one at 12 o'clock, the one it's pointed to right now. I just, I never really got on with that one too well. I prefer a shimmer reverb to a shimmer delay anyway.
Yeah.
Personal taste.
I can totally understand that. Number 3, Electro Harmonix Canyon delay pedal. Yep. Another ambient thingy.
Very similar to the Flashback in terms of its size and its offering and what it does.
Yeah, there's a loop on it as well, and it's just... These things do so much nowadays. It's really cool.
It is kind of amazing, isn't it? I think the one thing that might be limiting for a lot of people with the compact Flashback and the compact Canyon here is the fact that you don't have a second dedicated tap tempo switch, because I think that's quite important for a lot of people when it comes to delay pedals. I mean, you can get taps out of these, and there is a tap in there on the Canyon, so you can put an external foot switch onto it to do the tap, but having that built into the pedal for me personally, again, is something that I really like.
Yep. Very, very true. And number 4, and it's only the 4th one, or like, I'm surprised to see this at number 4, maybe a little bit Strymon Timeline, because I kind of was thinking whether it would be number 1. But
I assume this would be number 1.
Yeah. Because like sound-wise, I would put this above all the others. But then again,
sound-wise, I would put this, top tier for sure. I would put the Empress ecosystem level with this in terms of sounds from my experience, but the Timeline offers more in terms of tweaking, which is a double-edged sword for us, like on the one hand, you can do so much. On the other hand, you can do so much. And it can become too much. Option paralysis.
Yes. How much is too much? We ask on CatPick
That is the
Fridays.
question. But the Strymon Timeline is a classic, and I think probably the one thing that also counts against it, alongside the display thing that you mentioned there, Vlad, previously, the fact that you've got this little limited display screen, is the fact that this pedal is probably, I don't know, it must be close to 10 years old, right? At least 6, 7, 8 years old. Will they do an update or an upgrade or a Mark II at some point? That is, for me, a question that needs answering immediately.
Yeah, I have a feeling they might do... I don't know if they would call it like Timeline 2 or anything like that, but I would like to think they're going to do an update, because there are some things on the newest Strymon pedals that make them more functional than this one. Like, and for example,
I agree. Recently they've moved into more kind of niche kinds or individual kinds of delay. I think the most recent big box delay pedal that they've done is the Volante, which is an incredible pedal, and which I would love to buy. But again, it has a lot less types of delay on it than the Timeline, and it's about 450 euros or 400 euros on its own, and it's a lot of money, isn't it? These delay pedals are really... They're as expensive as some mid-range guitars, that is very true. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. So number 5, MXR Carbon Copy This is like the other end of the spectrum complexity-wise. But sound quality-wise, this is a killer thing.
Yeah, and the first analog delay on the list.
Oh, that's
And I think it's seen as being the industry standard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a simple pedal. It sounds absolutely amazing. And you can do a lot of things with it. Obviously, no like tap tempos and stuff like that, but not everyone needs it anyway. So
yeah, a great pedal. What I really like is there is a version with a bright switch. So you can make it a bit brighter, because some analog delays, they can have really dark repeats, and sometimes that's great, but sometimes you want a bit more, you want to hear it a bit more.
Yep.
And I like that option too. But yeah, a great pedal.
Yeah, I think they have like a few different versions of this pedal. Is there like a 2-foot switch version of the carbon copy? I think
I think it's called the Deluxe. And I guess that has everything in it. It has the modulation mode, the tap tempo, the brightness mode. That would be one I would actually really quite like to try, but have never seen in person.
Yeah. There you go. Number 6 is the Empress Ecosystem. This looks great. Never tried
That's
one.
the one I got.
Ooh.
I mean, that has a lot of stuff on the face itself, but that's all you've got. I mean, you can go into the computer and get more stuff if you want, but you don't need to, you don't have to. And I spent a long time researching which of the big box delays I would get back in the day, and went for this one mostly for that reason, the simplicity of using it over the timeline. And it's great. The best delay pedal for aficionados. So therefore, that makes me a delay aficionado, and I'm happy with that. I'm not really. I mean, that pedal, I have to admit, is 100% overkill for me. But there we go. I mean, it sounds fantastic. I love it, and I can just get lost in it. You can see on the left-hand side there that you have a bunch of different modes, about 12 or 13 different modes, but within each of those, you'll have multiples. So in the digital one, there's 4 or 5 different digital delays, 4 or 5 tapes, 4 or 5 analogs. You can do so much with that pedal, and I love the ambient and the delay and reverb modes too. It's fantastic. It's an amazing pedal.
What sound does the whiskey delay go for?
The whiskey is kind of like super lo-fi, super weird, and it actually does sound like you're playing guitar drunk. I mean, I often sound like that anyway because I'm so ham-fisted with my playing, but yeah, the whiskey is just...
Oh, come on.
Oh, there's some really funny names for the modes within the whiskey as well, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. But there is something like Drunk Dwarf or something like that.
Oh, cool. I like that 2 of the controls are just labeled Thing 1 and Thing 2, which I think kind of applies.
It's super cool, right? And so, for example, there's always like just a different specialist thing for each of the sounds that you can change there. So, for example, on the analog delay, one of them is like a deluxe Memory Man, you know, that legendary delay, and there's modulation and vibrato, and that's what the 2 things control there. And on, for example, the delay and reverb, they control the amount of reverb and the tonality of the reverb. So there's always just a different thing. Yeah, it's a really cool pedal. I really like it.
I like that they've inserted some humor into this as well. So, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look at that price on Thomann. No display, keep the manual handy, exactly.
Yeah.
€475 at Thomann. That's a lot of money, isn't it? Luckily, I was able to find one a lot cheaper than that.
Nice. Number 7, Boss DM2W Watercraft. Yeah, legendary pedal with some upgrades, updates.
The other classic, the other classic single foot switch analog delay.
Exactly, gives you that bucket brigade tone. And yeah, it's just
very nice. That's the new Waza version, which has 2 modes, I believe.
Yeah. I wonder if there's other pedals that do. Like, there's a pedal I've had that does the bucket brigade tone as well. I wonder if that will be here. We'll see. Eventide micro pitch delay is number 8. I am not familiar with this one, actually.
That's pretty new as a pedal, but I think what Eventide are doing at the moment is releasing physical versions of the effects from the H4.
Yeah.
So that's just one of those. It's just a weird delay. We had the black hole reverb a year or two ago, and that was one of the most kind of popular algorithms that they then released as a physical pedal. And I bet this sounds great.
Reasons to buy covers everything from subtle to mental. So there you go. From subtle to mental.
There you go.
There's that. Number 9, Universal Audio Starlight Echo Station. I've heard a lot of great sounds from this one.
Yep.
And I feel they've been fairly successful entering the pedal market. So well done on Universal Audio.
Yeah, I think they've done well. I think a lot of people sort of balked at the prices at first, but now you don't hear any of that anymore. You just see people talking about how good they sound. This is another one which I haven't played yet, but would love to test out when I get the chance.
Yeah, to me it looks like something I could get along with.
Again, it's a very retro look, isn't it?
True. So, no MIDI connectivity. Not sure if that's an issue for me. DoD rubberneck analog delay. I'm trying to remember whether I've owned this or not. I've owned some DoD pedals, but I'm not sure if it... No, it's not.
I feel like if you're struggling to remember if you owned that pedal, it can't have made too much of an impression on you if you did.
Yeah. I think one of these days we'll do a dedicated episode where I just go through all the photos of my pedal boards and pedals I've owned. And we can easily fill an hour or two doing just that. It will be fun and depressing at the same time.
I believe it would be, yeah. But this pedal I actually came very close to buying a couple of years ago. You know, Digitech kind of went out of business. They sort of folded and then they sort of came back, and these were getting sold off at Thomann for 115 euros, which is a very, very affordable price for what is supposed to be a very good, genuine analog delay that has the weird rubbernecking functions for making weird noises. But I hesitated a moment too long, and then they were all gone, and now they're back and they cost more. But in the meantime, I have my ecosystem anyway. Yeah.
Number 11, Source Audio Nemesis. I've owned this pedal. It's ridiculously good. I 100% agree. I might have even put it higher on the list.
I would have put it higher because I love the Source Audio stuff. I don't own the Nemesis, but I've played the Nemesis and I love it. It's a great delay pedal, loads of options, loads of great tones. I actually own the Collider, which is a combination of the Nemesis and the Ventris reverb. And they have about 6 or 7 of the most popular, most highly requested delay and reverb algorithms from both of those pedals and put them into one. And I love that pedal.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about this pedal was the app connectivity thing. I think you had to have some weird dongles to plug into this pedal to control it with your phone, and that really didn't work for me, at least.
Back in the day, I think you're right. I don't think it's like that anymore, but I believe you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, lovely, lovely sounds.
Oh, absolutely. Was that the end of the list?
It was a top 11.
You never know with the MusicRadar. Like, it can be top 10, can be top 20. I think one time we had like a very firm top 13. This was top 11. There you go.
Why not? This list goes to 11. So, exactly. Vlad, you were saying that there was another delay pedal you were thinking about that might be on the list. What was it? And was it on the list?
It wasn't on the list. I was also thinking about the Nemesis delay, but it's, what's the name of the company? Come on, I need to cheat and check out my own YouTube channel to remember what was the name of the pedal, because I'm just blacking out right now with that. Come on. Diamond Effects, whatever the delay is called. Memory Lane Junior. Diamond Pedals Memory Lane Junior.
Yes.
That thing is amazing sounding. It's just so good with some cool, clever function things that make it even more usable. That thing is ridiculously good.
Yeah, Diamond make great pedals and very, very underrated. I think the one which is the most popular is the compressor, the yellow compressor that they do. But more people need to try those out. Seeing as we're talking about delay pedals as well, let me just mention that this is kind of the year of the delay, 2022. The one that we're all waiting for is the Boss RE2, the Space Echo, which is coming out.
Oh, that's true.
We don't know when, but it's been teased after being leaked. It is coming at some point. That Space Echo algorithm is not in the DD500, so we're looking forward to getting that. And of course, there is the new X Tape Echo here, which I'm trying to hold up into the camera now. And I just did a demo of this that you can see on my YouTube channel if you so wish. But it does that beautiful, warbly, ethereal tape delay tone. Yummy, yummy.
It sounded really, really good in your demo. But
yes, so that's another thing. But I mean, that pedal is too new to go on the list, of course. But the Space Echo, there should be some kind of Space Echo on there.
That's true. But now I think it is time to roast your rigs. Still don't know the name for this section of the show. Still haven't had the time to create an intro for it, but one of these days. By the way, give us suggestions on how to call this, because today we're going to check out some of your guitars. You send us photos, you send us stories of these, and we're going to talk about them next in a section that is not called questions and comments, but I'm going to run that intro just because I can. Questions and comments. And yeah, so this week, guitars. And first of all, a friend of mine, a co-musician of mine, and someone who has been featured on the channel as well a few times, Mikko, sent a photo of his guitar. So this is his Squier Jazzmaster that has been modified quite a lot to look like the J Mascis Jazzmaster. And I believe this was modified to look like this before Fender actually had a J Mascis Jazzmaster. And
wow,
besides that, there's a video like, welcome to the memory lane of CatPick Studios. There's a video from February 13th, 2018, where we take Mikko's Jazzmaster and we modify it. I think we swapped the pickups. There was some ridiculously bad wiring going on inside of the guitar. It wasn't properly grounded or anything like that. And we do all of that. We talk about the guitar, we talk about the issues Mikko was having with the guitar, and then we swap some pickups on it, some better pickups, Fender Custom Shop Jazzmaster pickups, I think. Basically we replaced all the electronics as well, and do some like treble mods on it as well, and I'm trying to... I think this should be a section where we go to... Yeah, you can see here where we just do a lot of, basically disassemble all the electronics and everything and replace most of them. And as the end result, it's going to sound good. Sorry?
I was commenting on your shirt. I believe I supplied you with that shirt back in the day.
That is very, very true. Basically replaced all the electronics, fixed all the wiring, and he still uses this guitar. And sounded... Yeah.
You talked about roasting the guitars, but there's nothing to roast about this one. I mean, I love it. I love the J Mascis Squier look, and I'm guessing that this guitar started life as a vintage modified Squier, right?
I think so.
Is that what it would have been?
Yes.
Or is it? It's not classic vibe, is it?
I don't remember anymore because it's
looking
not
at
that
the
new,
headstock logo. I think vintage modified.
Could be as well.
Those little swirls around the edge of the Squier logo, to me that says vintage modified. But yeah, it's like it ended up a beautiful guitar.
Yeah, and like the tone changed quite a lot in this video, which you can obviously find in the show notes. In this video, we swapped the pickups and the electronics, and there's quite a difference in buzz and also how it sounds. And I liked the way these pickups sound so much that my yet unfinished Jazzmaster will actually have these same pickups because they gave me exactly that sound that I wanted to have from a jazz master. Like, they're just really good. They're Fender custom shop, something jazz master pickups. Not that expensive, actually. Like, I think like 130 euros a set or something like that.
Oh, that's not too
really
bad,
cool.
yeah.
No, it's not.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
I'd have that guitar.
Yeah. It's a very decent guitar. I think like we might have talked about this before, but like Squires are just a great mod platforms. Like you buy one, it's a good guitar in itself already, but then it's also a great mod platform to make it even better.
Mm-hmm.
So that was guitar number 1. Thank you, Mikko, for submitting this guitar. And number 2 is from another friend of the show, Luis Vasquez, and he says his favorite guitars are his 2 Taylor SB1X guitars that have been discontinued. Like, his channel is the only one where I've ever seen these guitars.
Yeah, I mean, I originally found out about these guitars from Lewis, of course, because he's the only person I've ever heard talk about them as well. And he mentioned them when I did a video on the vintage V100 with mini humbuckers, which is sat just over here, actually. This one. And he loved the sound of the mini Wilkinson humbuckers in this one and mentioned his pair of Taylors.
Yeah.
That he had, and I thought they looked and sounded great. And I did some research on that, and they just, they're obviously not available anymore. I don't think they ever were really available en masse or anything like that, but they, on paper, they should be really, really cool instruments. Yeah, and obviously Lewis is a man of exquisite taste, so we have to trust him that these are great guitars.
Yeah, and he's also using these guitars for heavy stuff. Lewis is one who has, like, it's really weird to see covers of my own songs, but he has done like covers of my songs. And he's using those guitars to get really sick metal tones. So mini humbuckers, that's definitely something I need to explore. Like, I probably won't be able to find these Taylors that he's playing, but yeah, looks like, I don't know if there's anything to roast. They look like kind of retro to me, but that's a bad thing.
They look really cool. I mean, obviously they were just like almost like a sideshow attempt by Taylor, who most people only think of as making acoustic guitars. I've actually got a couple of sort of saved searches for kind of used versions of this model that should ever come up in Germany. And since I've had that on there, it's only been a few months, but not a single one has appeared. And you just don't find much about them at all. They're very much a hidden gem in that context. But mini humbuckers are amazing sounding pickups, and they can do everything from super clean to super chunky high gain stuff like Lewis proved there.
Yeah.
So I'm not roasting these guitars either.
Yeah, I wonder what's the story of these guitars? Like, for how long they were produced, what happened, why were they discontinued, why they didn't take off. Yeah. If somebody knows, let us know, because we want to know. So many words in one sentence or few sentences. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we don't have to call this roasting of everyone's. We need to come up with some cool name where we just want to observe what other people are playing. I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps there's like a lighter word than roasting. Sautéing, perhaps. Braising.
One of those. No. Definitely.
We'll find something.
We'll find something. Or you feel free to suggest us something as well. We open all the suggestions with arms wide open, as in that one song. We are free. Number 3 comes from another friend of the show and also someone who has been featured, and someone who actually bought this guitar based on my recommendation. My friend Ville, who's been on many, many songs on my channel, plays bass most of the time, but he also got himself a Harley Benton Amarok. So this is the 6-string version, the kind of basic model. So it's not the baritone, it's just a regular 25.5-inch 5K length, and he's been really happy with the guitar.
Cool. That looks really nice. I didn't know that they had matching headstocks. It also looks like the headstock has a burst on it. That's pretty cool.
A little bit. It does. I mean, for the money, like the guitar has some issues that are easily fixable with a trip to luthier, or if you know a little bit of if you know how to file the fret ends and stuff like that, it's easily fixable, and then it's just a killer instrument for the money. I think the Amarok, like the two Amaroks, I think I've tried this guitar as well. Like the one we see in the photo, it's just cute, and they are pretty consistent with quality with these. Haven't been as impressed with the Fusion range as with the Amarok and then ALS. Maybe all the guitars that start with an A are like premium quality, because ALS and this one were great. And I would recommend it. Would you recommend this to a friend? I did. He bought it and he was happy as well. So
that's cool. What's the bridge on that guitar?
It's like a fixed six-string individual saddle type of bridge.
It just looks a bit like it has the Floyd Rose sort of mini fine tuners on the end from this.
Yeah, it doesn't. It has to be like a light that reflects on it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's nice, another cool guitar. Allows you to adjust the individual height and intonation of each of the strings, which is exactly what you want to have. So, very cool. Again, nothing to roast here. I approve your choice of guitar.
Yeah, me too.
Number 4 is from another friend of the show, Marco, a friend of mine who I've played a lot with over the years. This is a bit more special. This is by Gas Guitar Works, which is a local shop here nearby. And this is a custom guitar. And it's like this Strat with almost a Telecaster looking headstock. There is a Strat bridge, but what would you describe the color? It's
is it a burst or is it just the light?
It's seems like a light burst to me. I don't remember. I've seen this guitar in person, I think, as well, but I don't remember whether it's a burst or not.
It's really hard to describe that green. Is it like an emerald green?
It's like between blue and green to me.
Light petrol burst? I don't know. It's hard to... It's hard to come up with a name for it. It's a unique color and a unique looking guitar, and I quite like it.
Yeah,
I'd put a scratch plate on it, I think, but apart from that,
Gas Guitar Works instruments are, by the way, all mostly handmade. They do use CNC for a few things, just to make, for example, the neck shape more precise and stuff like that. But fantastic instruments, not cheap, but not super expensive for what you're getting. And great.
What pickups are in there? Do they wind their own pickups, or do they put in?
They do.
Kind of the pickups that you order. Oh, okay. So it's gas pickups as well.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so is this more of a high gain super Strat type guitar, or is it more classically voiced? To me, it looks like it's built for heavy rock and roll.
I didn't check with him what pickups it has. The main guy, Pekka, I think he does custom pickups for every guitar and kind of, some are hotter, some are less hot. And he makes great pickups, by the way. I've liked all the guitars with his pickups. So I've tried. So
very cool. That's another cool guitar. I can't roast it.
No, but it does have a roasted maple neck, I think.
Okay, we'll roast the neck.
Something like that. Yeah. And the last one comes from Carlos Boria. Oh, I think he's also known as Quicksilver. Sure. And he sent some info on his guitar as well. So both are classic.
We can roast these because they're left-handed.
Yeah, it is.
But we're not going to.
No, we're not going to. Both of his guitars, well, first of all, yeah, they're left-handed, but also they are both Fender Classic Vibes, and both are modded, one more than the other. So the first one is the Classic Vibe 70 Strat large headstock, which was the original appeal. Godo, Locking Tuners, Tusk, XL Nut, the Andrea Tortoiseshell HSS Pickguard, Dawn Rider Overwand HSS set, Bones Reverse C low friction pots, 2 500k pots and 1 250k. Then yes, the wiring with this wiring, the single coil uses those 2 470k resistors, so that the single coils see a 250k when engaging the 500k pots that the humbucker needs. So I guess that all I take from that is like that wiring fixes like maybe like a volume difference between the humbucker and
discrepancy
the single coils.
between the humbucker and the single coils. Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Very cool.
Very cool. Wood tone brass block and steel plate, which definitely adds to the tone if you get like a proper block inside of your Strat. Well done. High wood steel saddles, raw vintage springs. He has the tremolo decked, so he uses all 5 springs, 5-way super switch from CRL, and switchcraft output jack. So that's like fully pimped out Stratocaster for you. I love that idea, like taking a classic Vibe 70 Strat and then just modding the heck out of it. That's really cool.
I mean, he's really gutted that and put the best of the best into it. I bet that is an amazing performing guitar.
Yeah. I don't know what it
sounds
is.
Great too.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with me, but like I love the idea of taking the more affordable instrument and just making it incredible than spending the same money to buy a higher end one. There's something, I don't know, it feels more personal and personalized, obviously, as well.
Like you say, he could have just bought a guitar with those kinds of features, with those specs, but this is like you have a personal connection to it, you know. Yeah. If you do these personal mods yourself, it gives it so much more kind of sentimental, emotional value to the instrument. And it's just something that you'd pick up and play every time and think, I remember how this was as a classic vibe when I first bought it, and now I've made it into this amazing thing. It's like a child, raising a child maybe. Having not raised a child, I may have just made a grave error in saying that, but that's how it feels to me.
Yeah. Having 2 kids, I still approve your assessment or something like that. I think there's definitely truth to that as well. I don't know what modifying your child means in this context, but let's not dive into that. Let's talk about the Telecaster instead. So it's a classic Vibe 50s Tele, same as above with the tuners and not Tone Rider pickups, although he can't remember which ones. They don't come in a set. And for those listening to the podcast, so a fairly traditional looking like is that the butterscotch Telecaster, but there's a neck humbucker. And so 3, or like, what are those called? Like the vintage kind of tail pieces.
Saddles.
Saddles.
The brass saddles. Yeah.
Yeah, brass saddles. So I'm guessing he's able to intonate that well. I've never liked them just because you don't get the intonation quite up to where I love it. But I know some other people know how to set up their tellies better than I do and make those. Yeah.
There are some brands of those brass saddles where you do have not 100% intonation, although I think there are some, but with the Wilkinson ones, for example, that I have, you can intonate them incredibly well.
Yeah. He also mentions that with this one, there's similar things happening with electronics where he makes the single coil and the humbucker kind of work better together. So similar kind of wiring things done there. Godo bridge with Intune brass saddles. And Intune, it seems to be like a brand that specializes in that because he writes it in like in and then there's a capital T. Never heard of them before. Maybe I need to check that out at some point. Sounds interesting. And same manufacturer of switch and output jack. And both, of course, have also the usual orange drop capacitors as well. Something that I have in my 335-ish guitar as well. And they are huge and orange, and you can see them through the F-holes of my guitar.
Funnily enough, when I was at the music store on Monday for our photo shoot, I was checking out the Ibanez guitars there, and on one of the very high-end Telecaster style guitars that they had, there was one of these in-tune bridges. Could be the exact same one, I don't know. I didn't see the exact specs of that guitar, but I remember seeing it then and thinking, in-tune, what is that? And yeah, I guess this confirms it. It is a brand.
Indeed. And
again, that was on a high-priced Ibanez Tele-type guitar. What are the Ibanez sort of Tele-types called? I forget. Is it a Talman? No.
Might be. I mean, they have the Tele version from in the AZ range now as well, don't they? Which is called something else.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. I'm seeing the exact guitar, having just Googled Ibanez Talman.
There you go.
But it just says Ibanez. I can read you the model number, actually, just for reference. It's the Ibanez AZ S2209H PBM.
Sounds like a cool password to use.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that has a mini humbucker in the neck and the single coil in the bridge. It was a beautiful guitar, and I wish I'd tried it. Although probably my wallet is happy that I didn't. But yeah, to go back to this Tele, I like it a lot. I mean, my favorite Fender Tele might be blue, but apart from that, it's actually fairly similar. You know, I've got the wide-ranging neck humbucker in there. I've got the 3 brass saddle bridge going on, coil split on the neck humbucker. It's that's how I like it. That makes the Tele the most versatile guitar that it can be. Yeah. We can't roast these two guitars either because they're super cool, and he's put so much effort into making them better as well. Plus, they look great, and he's got an awesome carpet.
That is true as well. Yeah, I think we need to change the name of the segment to something else. We'll brainstorm at some point. But today is not the day for that. Because instead of brainstorming ideas for that, we are actually going to check out something super, super cool that we think you should watch this weekend. And that is, of course, Weekend Watch.
Watch it. Video. It's not like you have anything else to do.
Yeah, because you don't have anything else to do. I think what you should watch is a video called Knut-Rider Anssi Kela's K.I.T.T. And Anssi Kela is basically one of Finland's most famous musicians, incredibly talented guy, ridiculously good guitar player, ridiculously good bass player, amazing singer, plays keyboards, plays drums, writes and records all of his songs in his home studio. So basically a guy that you hate just because he's so talented, but he's also a super nice guy. And besides being a great musician, he's also a hardcore Knight Rider fan. So this show that starred David Hasselhoff and featured K.I.T.T. I don't remember what the K.I.T.T. standard for, but he loves that show. He's a huge fan, and he came up with this idea that he wants to buy one of those old Dodge Trans Am cars and modify it to look exactly like K.I.T.T. And this mini film basically follows his journey of finding the right car, then finding all the parts, and apparently there's a global community of people who love to modify their cars to look like K.I.T.T. from Knight Rider, and he goes all the way with this project. The end result looks absolutely amazing. Just you can see like here on YouTube what they start from. He was able to find a car that's from the right year, and super interesting watch. Unfortunately, it's pretty much in Finnish, but there are subtitles, so if you can read English, you should be able to follow this just fine. So yeah, highly recommend this. I'm not going to spoil the end result. I want you to watch it and just, it's a fantastic build vlog. And he doesn't reveal how much money went into this project, but I'm going to say it was quite a lot. Because they had to order parts from all over the world. And the car needed some serious repairs. Like it was pretty, yeah, he mentions here in the video that the car felt like it's more like driving a boat than driving a car. And when he's hitting the brakes, the car just wants to steer somewhere. So, yeah. There you go. There's that. And yeah, I think you're going to enjoy this video. But I think it's also time to wrap up. And thank you so much for watching, listening, liking, sharing, subscribing. Ways to support what we do and links to everything we mentioned in the show notes. Have a happy Friday. We shall see you next week. Yeah. Bye, podcast.
Bye, podcast.
There you go.